Unfortunately, sleep deprivation can cause many issues. I mean, there's so many areas that it can actually affect if you don't get enough sleep. And that's why I'm going to be discussing how kidney disease has affected my eldest daughter's ability to just function on a day-to-day basis. It's been a consistent issue. So we're trying to find ways to help her find her peace by getting enough sleep. So welcome everyone, and hope you're having an amazing day. Thank you for joining me today. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about TSC, FSGS, or a little bit of fun with fashion, then you're in the right place. On Mondays, I do videos all about fashion and accessories. On Fridays, I do videos all about TSC and FSGS. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell so you can be notified on all fun things that I upload and some informational stuff that I enjoy talking about, just with having all that experience with two girls with TSC and FSGS. So welcome, and let's get started. So it's been a number of years my daughter's been battling kidney disease. And if you're not too familiar with kidney disease, it can definitely cause a lot of issues when it comes to getting enough sleep. Sleep obviously is paramount, especially if you are sick, having issues, have autoimmune diseases, which causes a lot of issues beyond just sleep deprivation, of course. And when you have kidney disease, you really need to get that substantial amount of sleep so that you can recoup, your body could regenerate. A lot of times when you have kidney disease, if you're not aware of it, but it can affect your heart, and that's the main artery in your entire system that gets affected when you don't have proper kidney function. A lot of times people have high blood pressure, and ultimately it will lead to heart disease. So not getting that sleep in order to get your system to recoup, it's gonna affect you even faster. It'll also affect you more impactful, which means that the harder hit, the longer you go without getting that sleep, the more effect it'll have on your overall system. So with not getting enough sleep, it can impact your brain function. So if you've ever experienced that time when you went out and you had a great time, you got home, you couldn't shut down because you just still were so up and hyper, and it was like 4 a.m. So if you're like me, you might have had one of those 2 nights. Well, what happens, right, is that you won't get enough sleep. So let's say you have to go to work the next day. So you fell asleep at 5, get up at 8, and you're completely exhausted. You're not able to function properly. When you're driving, it's very dangerous because you are not alert. You just can't even think straight. So when you get to work, you're kind of like just dragging, trying to drink your 3rd cup of coffee just to maintain that function. So obviously that is impacting your brain because your function is just not straight. You can't think straight. You're not able to have that one thought that you could have had you gotten a good sleep. Not able to answer questions as quickly because you really have to sit there and think about it. Sometimes it doesn't even come to you. Then that's again because your body wasn't able to recoup, and gives you, unfortunately, you struggle with that, just your day-to-day stuff. And that is all, obviously, that can also lead to lack of sleep. If it's continuous, can lead to depression. It can lead to extreme anxiety, which again, my daughter has experienced on both ends, just being excessively depressed or anxious because she's not getting the rest that she needs to be able to rebuild her immune system. Because if you have kidney disease, if you're familiar with just your immune system is completely to the ground, so you have to be very careful. So if you're not getting enough sleep, that also impacts your immune system. That means that you're able to get sick faster, able to catch anything pretty quickly, especially with the very low immune system. So you have to be cautious with that. Other things that it affects is your ability to your sensitivity when it comes to your nervous system. So pain is very more excessive. So if you, maybe something that would have been just a slight pinch or something that wasn't as painful can be extra painful. So when you are on dialysis, for example, not getting enough sleep, and you got to get those 15 gauge needles into your arm, that's going to be even that much impactful or painful because of the lack of sleep. and the sensitivity overall would be a huge impact to your overall system. Other things that it can affect, like I was talking before, is just the heart and the circulatory system. That means that long-term effects, high blood pressure, another impact, which is really, really dangerous for anyone that has kidney diseases. You don't want to have to deal with, again, high blood pressure and consistently not sleeping. That's, again, it's going to just keep raising the issue, and it's going to continue to rise, and additional more and more. So some of the major issues that some of the major illnesses that get worse with sleep deprivation, and again, it all depends. Some issues that obviously get worse with time, especially if depending on how long sleep deprivation lasts. Things like type 2 diabetes is a huge one. High blood pressure, obesity. You can gain a lot of weight if you're not sleeping and your body's not able to recoup from the day before. It can also lead to obesity, obstructive sleep apnea, vascular disease, a stroke, depression, anxiety. You also could lead to some forms of psychosis. So if you're literally like not sleeping at all for weeks at a time, that can also be a major factor. So with kidney disease, not sleeping, again, it goes back to, right, some people get kidney disease from having some people get kidney disease from just having diabetes, right? So that can lead to long-term kidney disease. So other factors, the heart, right? So as I discussed before, heart is a huge factor when it comes to not sleeping properly, because your system and your organs are not regenerated. They're not given a chance to properly regenerate and recoup. So one thing that was impactful when my daughter saw this was when she had to have her parathyroid removed. So with her parathyroid gland being removed, or 90% of it being removed, if you know a little bit about parathyroid glands, they regulate the calcium, the phosphorus, and your magnesium in your blood and bones. It also is obviously essential for healthy bones. So she has to be able to recoup when it comes to that as well. So just remember the importance of being able to get enough rest. So some hot items that I give, or I try to coach my daughter along with. I understand that obviously I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, or I don't have a history in medical field. Just having experience with 2 daughters with TSC or tuberous sclerosis complex and FSGS. I'm not going to try to say that one, but it is a form of a kidney disease, a rare kidney disease, which they got it genetically. So from one parent. So it doesn't mean that they will get it full blown. It's just the potential of actually getting it. They have a 50% chance of getting it. So my oldest daughter did, obviously, because she ended up leading into full blown kidney disease. She ended up going to dialysis, ended up getting kidney transplant. First one was from me, which she lost she had to have it removed because she ended up getting meningitis. And again, that's why I started that's why I started this whole thing. And then my youngest, she ended up getting TSC. Her TSC impacted her on the brain. My oldest, she has tubers here and there in the brain. She did have some in the heart, which was absorbed when she was young, and so did my youngest. But as far as the brain related, my oldest, it didn't impact her as much as my youngest. My youngest has a SEGA, front left lobe, which impacted her more than anything. So right now she's being monitored for FSGS and her kidney function. And then she's also being monitored. Obviously, she's on several medications for seizures, which have been we finally found a happy place when it came to the we finally found a good place where it comes to maintaining or managing her seizures. She is very well managed with that, and she hasn't had one she had one a couple of years ago, or a year ago, I apologize, on Mother's Day. I'll never forget it. But that was one that she's had. Prior to that, years she hasn't had one. So that's the kind of I'm just summing it up for my 2 girls and why sleep is so important for them, especially, which obviously, again, it goes back to if you don't have that proper sleep, how it can cause slow reaction times, headaches. It can cause trouble thinking, daytime sleepiness, which is very dangerous, especially if you're driving a vehicle. And what I normally encourage my girls to do, or my oldest, is download an app. Download the Calm app, which is one of my favorites. When I was struggling to sleep because of the constant medical emergencies and the difficulties that I had just to manage that, I ended up taking up some yoga, and I started to do some meditation throughout the day, more throughout the later times of the day, because it was able to kind of bring me down. I shut off my phone, my TV, everything an hour prior to going to sleep. I drink chamomile tea right before I go to bed, and then what I do is I put on my headsets, listen to one of the therapists, or just the calming sounds using the Calm app, and I find my calmness. I close my eyes and I completely forget about everything around me, and I go to sleep. I fall asleep, and it happens every single time. If I struggle, that's exactly what I do. And what ends up happening is it's great because I get into a very deep sleep. Now, if you're gonna use a headset, I encourage that you please use the ones with the that you use the ones with the string, because there has been some stories where people end up falling asleep with the headsets and they end up swallowing them, which is really weird. But yes, it probably can happen if you turn your face. Yeah, I guess. Anyway, I know it's weird, but just wanted to forewarn you because I've heard it before. All right, so that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, just remember that, anything could cause sleep deprivation. Just recognize the signs, because it's really dangerous to travel or drive if you're very, very tired. You can have, it can lead to something even more, you can get even different. I mean, there's a series of different symptoms that you can get. Eye droopy, your eye drooping, you have trouble speaking, you can have uncontrollable eye movements, impulsive behavior because you're not thinking straight, impaired judgment. So if you have to sign really important documents, stay away from that if you did not get a good night's sleep. For example, I am a drone pilot commander. If I'm exhausted, I'm not even allowed to fly my drone while obviously I have to wait for the next day to do it, to make sure that I get enough sleep. If you're not getting enough rest, then you really need to kind of reevaluate your current condition, see where you're at. If you're not getting enough sleep, then I would recommend getting a sleep study. See if maybe it's just some other issue. Just see if it's just maybe it's something in your work life. Maybe it's too stressful, too overwhelming. You're constantly thinking of something that you have to do at work. You got to find a way to calm your give yourself a cutoff time frame at work, and explain to your boss that you need to, no matter what, your health is more important, but find a time that you have to cut off from that noise, right? Now, if it's a health related issue, obviously that's a little bit more complex. For my daughter, my oldest, she's the one struggling with the sleep deprivation. Cutting back on any type of noise when it comes to being on the internet too long, being on TV too long, cutting everything off an hour or two beforehand, using a headset, listening to Calm, or listening to one of those apps that just listen to the ocean, listen to the therapist on there, just trying to give you some input on calming yourself and calming your nerves. Drinking some chamomile tea, drinking some warm milk. Just find things that work for you to just shut the noise off. Shut the noise off and find your inner peace, because sleep is probably one of the most important factors, especially if you're struggling with the disease like my daughter, because your organs and your body need to be able to recoup. If they can't recoup, then it's going to be a long-lasting negative effect on you and your system, and it's going to make your disease worse. Thank you so much, guys, for listening in to my brief update on my daughter's sleep deprivation and what I'm trying to work with her on. Obviously, it's not perfect yet, but we're trying to find our happy place, trying to find a good place for her, and to get her rest as much as possible, because she needs it, right? She's still recouping from a surgery that she's had prior, also from her nerve damage that she had in her arm. She's going to therapy for. So it's really important, not only as someone with a disability, obviously, but it's also important when you have surgery or you're battling an ongoing disease. And thank you again so much for joining me. And don't forget to focus through and evolve. Ciao.